On the half lap for the men, the world record still held by Usain Bolt. The one man who owns the American record has said he wants that record to be in play over the course of the next season, perhaps by the end of this season, given the confidence he must bring, as we'll talk about Noah Lyles here shortly. But let's start with the confidence that Zarnell Hughes has now. National records at 100 and 200, and now a medal in the 100 here in Budapest.
Yeah, that bronze sort of validates what we all saw in him for years. Lots of ability, but he finally figured it out at age 28, getting that bronze. He's having the best year of his life by far. Broke two 30-year-old records, first in the 100, running 983 to break Linford Christie's 987. And then breaking John Regis' 200-meter record to boot as well with 1973.
30-year-old records, both of them shattered in the span of just a month or so. Aaron Brown, part of that talented 4x100-meter relay squad we'll see this weekend for Team Canada. We'll try to make it a go here. Made some finals over the years. Yeah,
he was the only man to make the 100 and 200-meter finals last year at the Eugene World Championships. And then he led off the team that upset the United States men in the 4x1. He does have 2 world medals in the 4x1 as well. Bronze in 2013 and 2015.
So, Otto, you do a great job of sort of putting us in the head and the mind of an elite athlete across all these various events, but this one in particular, 1997, and your win in Athens. Just give us a sense of what the eventual world champion here will have to be thinking through the rounds to be successful.
Well, I think Noah Lyles goes in as favorite, obviously. He won the world title last year by a big margin, but it's a much better field to face him here in 2023 because of the presence of Hughes. Remember Arion Knighton, who is waiting and did not run the 100. Kenny Bednarek, the American, who is waiting and did not run the 100. So it's a much better field. So I think you'll see Noah come out and be very reserved, which is not like Noah, and getting through the rounds with minimal effort. Hughes is the 4th fastest man at the distance this year, and he has caught Adams of South Africa to his outside. The big man will lead off the turn.
Into the main straightaway, Aaron Brown of Canada coming in with a nice close here. He's in second. Hughes doing a lot of looking around, saying, who's coming with me to the semi-final round. Luxalo Adams also in the mix, the South African there, sub 20 to start.
You'll notice that the people who won medals last weekend are all smiling through their heats because they already know they're leaving here with hardware. Hughes and I talk fairly often, never about track and field. He's also a pilot. He got his private pilot's license recently, so he and I talk all things aviation, and he was flying around that turn, and it got him into the semifinals in a sub 20 time as well. Aaron Brown up for second in 20:08.
We'll have to have Lewis ask Zarnell what he wrote in his journal today. You know, we saw that after we witnessed that 100-meter record in New York, that he basically called it, and then he did it again when he broke the 200 record.
I'm pretty sure that I remember reading that he had written down that he was going to run 19.7 on the day that he broke John Regis' British record. But man, he trains in Jamaica under Glenn Mills. That's the guy that guided Usain Bolt and Johan Blake, and is now coaching Oblique Seville, who was 4th in the 100. So it means that his coach got 3rd and 4th in the 100, and he's looking for more in the deuce as Hughes looks around as if to say, where are you guys?
Well, there's a lot of veteran experience here at the front because Aaron Brown's in his 6th World Championship appearance, Hughes in his 5th. But that smile says it all. Hughes has to be enjoying what he's experienced so far, with more to come.
And even though he's run 983 this year, Hughes' better event is still the 200. I think he can go faster than his personal best 1973.
So the first reservations to the queue room have arrived. Just how long their table or couch table service will last will depend on the results of the upcoming heats. And we go back to the start line. Noah Lyles.
The hottest sprinter on the planet right now, the world leader in the 100, the world leader in the 200, and of course, the world champion from last Sunday's 100-meter final. We flash you back to last year, though, at double the distance, the half lap. Noah Lyles did something in Eugene that he did here in the 100. He improved his start, his turn, and his acceleration. And the end result, Michael Johnson's 1932 record from 1996 was gone. The new American record holder and now twice world champion, Noah Lyles, stood atop the podium.
And we reflect upon that 100-meter win, and we talked about the great documentary that's running right now on Peacock, Untitled, and his journey followed through, and now they'll be filming more here in Budapest. That'll be great episodes to watch following it. But Lyles then succumbing to the emotion of the moment on the victory stand, where he was just crying profusely. And I think it really speaks to, he had put a lot of pressure on himself, kind of putting himself out there saying, here's what I want to accomplish, and to reach that was a moment that obviously he was pushing for, but maybe had to question it maybe every day.
No question. And every sprinter has bad days at practice. Things don't go right in competition. So the emotion comes when you remember all that it took to get there. And remember what Lyles is trying to do here, too. Noah Lyles is trying to be the first man to double at the World Championship since Usain Bolt did it 8 years ago in Beijing at the World Championship. So there's a bigger picture, but this is by far his better event. This is the event that he's already mastered.
They're alongside the pole vault here, so just a slight delay, but I'll give Lyles a lot of credit. There is only about 100 square feet of shade on the backstretch right now, and he has found it. It's under the light standards. He's just within about 3 feet of being in the sun, so he's smart enough to know, try to take advantage of that while he can, and then we'll get out ready for this intro sequence.
So remember that Noah's doing something that he's never done at the World Championship or Olympic level. He's doing a double. So this is new territory for him, because usually when he starts the 200, he has a full tank. There's no way that you go through the emotion and the rigors of a 100-meter World Championship and come to the 200 100%. I love the horn. I love the horn intro.
So Noah also gets the advantage of a pretty nice lane draw for his style. He loves being out there on the outside, and that's not a guarantee through these rounds, because it's not like you get your agent to call the meeting director and say, I want my preferred lane as the defending champion. So we'll keep that in mind through these rounds as well. Voko of Slovakia, he's the Slovakian record holder at 2024, and then Andrew Hudson of Jamaica.
He's the national champion for Jamaica this year, but he was previously representing the United States up until last year.
Makarawu of Zimbabwe ran his lifetime best back in April. Gides of Brazil, and Kosegwan of Korea takes a bow as he steps in for his first ever half-lap experience in a World Championship, the two-time South Korean champion. But this is all on Noah Lyles. And what do you expect to see him do here other than move on? What would you try to do with this first round, given that you've gone through those hundreds?
I would try, and this is my pattern throughout my entire career. Run the fastest you can for the first 50. Take a little glance inside for the second 50. Make sure you have a lead off the turn, and then keep the knees up so that you don't give back the lead in the final 100. That's what I think Noah Lyles is going to do here. You're going to see a good turn from him in 8. And right on cue, Noah Lyles has caught Magic to his outside. His closest competition is Hudson from Jamaica on the inside, who has decided he wants to run with the world champion.
Indeed, he tries to run, but in the end, Noah Lyles into a very slight headwind of 0.1 meters per second will get himself into the semifinals. Workday is done as he gets himself on to the semifinal round. Hudson will get an automatic qualifier as well, as we'll wait the confirmation of Maciek in third in 2040.
So the three-time U.S. champion makes light work of Heat 2 in these men's 200-meter rounds. As you said, Paul, he was on the outside lane. When Noah Lyles is on the circuit, on the Diamond League circuit, and he has lane choice, he usually picks 6, 7, or 8. So he would have been very comfortable on the outside, second from the outside in lane 8. He ran a good turn and then held off the challenge of Hudson. Hudson actually ran a little faster around the turn and did lead Noah Lyles at 100. But you saw it in the 100-meter final. Noah Lyles has gears that other people don't have, and when he gets to his top-end speed, he usually makes everybody disappear behind him. No difference here. And the world champion is into the semifinals.
No time qualifiers will come out of this second heat, so the Q room keeps the trio from heat number 1 there.
Act of putting his goals out there in public, because when you put it out in public, now it creates an extra pressure you have to live up to it. As we look now at Tebogo, who was the runner-up in the 100 behind Noah Lyles, and he is second fastest at 200 to Noah Lyles this year as well, with his 1950. He is only 20 years of age.
We just saw former Florida Gator Marquise Dendy on the long jump runway. Joseph Fonbele also ran at the University of Florida. Grew up in the United States in Minnesota, but competes for Liberia, where his parents are from. And
he just missed the podium in Eugene, finishing in 4th. He figures to be Tebogo's chief opposition here. Tebogo stood straight up, but this kid can flat out fly. He will lead off the turn.
Again, the top 3 will automatically qualify. Tebogo already starting to look around and will shut it down as he gets himself into the semifinals. Fonbele, who always is known for his long close. Tebogo has left the building.
I know that the Americans swept this event in Eugene last year, but I feel like Tebogo is going to be on that podium this year. He has all the pressure off of him. He already has the silver from the 100. He's young. And the way he's been looking in the 100, I think the 200, which is his better event, is one in which he can medal. He runs great turns. Look at the relaxation. Look at the bounce off of the track. And look at how early he's shutting it down. He is going to present a problem for anybody in this event. And then, listen, I tried this once, Paul. It did not end well. I saw Frankie Fredericks one year do this, where he just ran and then kept running. Man, I got about 4 steps up and I went, oh my gosh, what have I just done? Tebogo ran across the line and never stopped running through the mix zone. That's cool, but I couldn't do it.
Well, and the other connection to Frank Fredericks is that Tebogo just broke his 27-year-old African record on the Diamond League behind Lyles. I'm not sure if the 2022 was the fastest time in the 200 or the fastest time through the mix zone, but he may have the championship record so far.
That was impressive.
So the time qualifiers still sitting out there from heat number 1 as the tension builds for them to try to make it on to the semifinals. We'll see more American talent on the track here short.
And on to the final. You see that sigh of relief.
And if you're a metric follower, that 8 meters really kind of defines things. You got almost a handful of them there in the qualifying. This is just moments ago, heat 4, a little disaster for James Dadsey of Ghana out there in lane number 9 as he pulls up. As Brandon Rodney of Canada joining Aaron Brown, his teammates from that quartet. They just got upgraded their medal from Tokyo to ceremony last month at their national championships after Great Britain was disqualified. And so Rodney now makes it 2 Canadians in the semifinals, winning in 2014.
Yeah, Rodney's one of only 3 Canadian men to run under 20 seconds for 200 meters, and he is safely through to the semifinal at age 31.
There were no time qualifiers out of that. So again, that first heat has been the fastest so far, as we turn our attention now to heat number 5. And Courtney Lindsay of Rock Island, Illinois, got in the top 3 at the U.S. after a breakout season at Texas Tech, and the collegian is here on the biggest of stages.
Yeah, he's the one that held off Fred Curley and pushed Fred Curley off of the 200-meter team. Remember, Fred Curley was originally trying to attempt a double at Worlds. This is his better event. He got as far as the semifinals at U.S. Nationals. But what an NCAA's for him. The NCAA champ, as you said, second in the 200. But that's the event that he made the U.S. team in.
And how about Ramil Guliev? If you've been following the sport for a while, he was the winner in London back in 2017. This is his fifth World Championship appearance. He's made the final in this event 4 times, but really, we haven't seen him run much. We do a lot of the Diamond League coverage, and he has just not been competing on the pro circuit.
I'm surprised he's here because I thought he was retired. His season's best is 2069, so he's going to need a big season's best just to get out of this preliminary heat 5 for sure.
Uzawa, the Japanese champion, with some supporters in the crowd, will get the draw right next to Courtney Lindsay. What a moment to be introduced. Started his collegiate career at Iowa Central Community College before transferring to Texas Tech, and things have just gotten better and better from there.
The pride of Rock Island, Illinois, as we look at Oragat of Uganda. He's another NCAA star coming off of his sophomore year at Alabama. He ran 1994 this year at NCAA's. That is the Ugandan national record.
Also saw Rashid Dwyer of Jamaica in lane 3, making his 5th World Championship appearance. 3-time Jamaican champion. Guliev, world champion in 2017. He was one of those guys, always found a way to get in the final.
Yeah, and once he got to the final, he was always competitive. I have to think, though, this has to be his last World Championships. He's already had, as you said, such a great career. His personal best is 1976. That was back 5 years ago. That's the Turkish record. And that's going to be the Turkish record for a while. Turkey is not a country that has ever had a ton of sprinters. But we'll keep our attention on Lindsay of the United States in 7, Rashid Dwyer down in 3, and we'll see how the former world champion Guliev goes in 9. As he's told to get his hands off the line.
Heat 5, men's 200.
And we have a false start, our first false start of this morning's proceedings.
I think that helps someone like Lindsay. You've got to have some nerves here.
Yeah, I think when you're on this stage for the first time, and not just that, because he didn't make the 100 team and he has had to sit and watch all the drama go back and forth, it starts to create some questions in your mind like, whoa, look at all these people who I've been looking at and celebrating for years, and everybody has not had the smoothest sailing at these World Championships. Maybe I'll have some issues too.
Look at Chris Cohen, one of the longtime World Athletics officials here, running the starters officials and conversing with the timing crew before he makes the decision.
I don't know why they sounded another gun, because nobody was anywhere close to the threshold. But I think what it was is that the guy on your screen there, and the Latsi of Georgia, did not come up in a timely fashion for set. And every time you do that at this level, the starter's going to either sound another up. No, it's Guliev. And Guliev was warned to keep his to keep his hands off the line. It's his 5th World Championships. You would think he would know how the starting process works.
On your marks. Stand up.
One of those guys that wears sunglasses, whether it's a morning session or an evening session.
Who does that?
I don't know. I know a guy.
Okay. I guess, you know, if that's your thing. Sunglasses. Okay.
I don't think those glasses are as interesting as what you wore.
So Guliev has an actual warning against him. No over-the-tops for Guliev.
On your marks.
Guliev has an official warning against him, and I just find that so shocking. It's like this guy has been through battles. He lived through the Bolt era. Put your hands behind the line. When the starter says set, you come up and hold steadily for set, and then we can get this fifth heat off, finally.
3 more heats to go here. Heat number 5, Lindsay, the United States in 7.
And Lindsay had a good reaction to the gun. Wow, he has caught both lanes to his outside quickly, and he will lead off the turn.
Very comfortable first 100 meters for him. Rashid Dwyer of Jamaica. And Uzawa now trying to close, maybe a little closer there at the end for that 3rd and 4th position to be confirmed here in a moment. But
listen, I was a sprinter. I know what it's like. You look very cool. You shut down early. You let everybody think, hey, I was barely running. But somebody is going to shut down too soon and find themselves on the outside looking in. It won't be Lindsay, but I think he shut down a little too soon.
Orogat of Uganda, who finished in 4th, may potentially find his way in and disrupt what's been a raging party since the first heat of the men's 200 in that Q room. Those 3 guys who were there from the very first race, but a new time qualifier has emerged here, and going back to this start, can't see it in slow-mo, but in real time, Lindsay looking really good. Now you can see it here as they come off the final turn.
Okay, so let me tell you what my coach used to tell me. You've done all this work to build this lead. Yes, you want to look cool and shut down, but you can't shut down. Look, you can't shut down with 3 guys that close to you. That is how Sharika Jackson of Jamaica did not make it out of the first round at the Olympics. You cannot shut down that early.
Well, it'll be a teachable moment when he gets back to his coach and ponders the possibilities, but at least he got back and will get into the semifinal. Kung Fu Kenny Bednarik is in the house along with Ariane Knighton, Team USA, with more racing to come at 200 shortly.
I have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now there's Skyrizi. Feel significant symptom relief with Skyrizi, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Skyrizi is the first and only IL-23 inhibitor for Crohn's that can deliver both clinical remission and endoscopic improvement. The majority of people on Skyrizi achieve long-lasting remission at 1 year.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Ask your gastroenterologist how you can take control of your Crohn's with Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
The Taliban are on the march and gaining territory at an astonishing rate.
There comes a point when a team's only goal is to survive.
We started moving them in small groups through the mountains.
Oyanda, Sunday at 10 on MSNBC. part of the Turning Point documentary series.
Back in Budapest, the morning session nearly complete on this Wednesday at the 2023 World Track and Field Championships as we get set for the 6th of 7 heats in the men's 200 meters. And there is the 19-year-old Erriyon Knighton of the United States.
There's never been a teenager or any other athlete at this age that has been this good at 200 meters.
And we're saying he's just a teenager, but he's already been making a name for himself, particularly in the United States. We go back to the U.S. Championships in 2022, where he tries to take down Noah Lyles.
And he is one of the best turn runners in the world. He's in the third lane here. You see him go by Noah Lyles, but Noah Lyles would respond. And then we had one of the best interviews of the year last year.
I do what it takes to win. And Erriyon got the best of me on the turn. I ain't worried about that. I saw him reach his top speed, and I said, mine is faster. That's how I'm gonna catch him. It's just gonna take the whole rest of the 100. And that's what I did.
Erriyon, your rise has been pretty incredible. What do you learn from this moment? You will be coming back here for the Worlds at a pretty fast time you already ran as well.
Just come back and win. Job not finished. It's never finished. Ain't finished.
Never finished. And
right.
I love the banter. You know, I've been sitting in the field event chair. We'll be back there tonight with Trey, and we saw Val Allman and Lagi Tasaga, you know, winning a world title and saying, you know, she's been pushed by Val Allman. Here's a case where Lyles is pushing everyone on Team USA, and Knighton's the kind of kid who could say, yeah, maybe it is my time.
Yeah, and in case you looked at that interview and thought, oh, these two don't like each other, they're actually pretty cool. It's almost like a big brother, little brother type thing. As we get ready for Heat 6.
Should also note that the reigning Olympic champion Andre DeGrasse of Canada is in this event, trying to make it 3 Canadians in the semifinals. He's in 7.
Remember, I told you that Knighton is one of the best turn runners in the world. You're going to see him separate here if he has any designs on qualifying easily to the next round. He'll lead off the turn.
Could be a very competitive race here for these top 3 positions as Knighton, now DeGrasse, and in between the two of them, Dombile of South Africa. A little headwind there, and again 2017, so right on the cusp of those sub-20s, but it's been pretty solid work by the Americans so far. They have 4 here in the 200, and so far all of the first 3 have survived.
Every time I have watched Erriyon Knighton for the past 3 seasons, I think the same thing. He does not run anywhere near to what you expect for somebody that age. Tobogo of Botswana is the same way. Knighton is still a teen. Tobogo is 20. Can you tell who the teenager in this field is? He's next to the Olympic champion, and he's handling him comfortably. He runs way above his age.
Well, and you think of the era that we're in, whether it's a Thing Mo or Jakob Ingebrigtsen or Mondo Duplantis, we have seen these sort of under 20s, some even under 18s, kind of emerge and give the 20-somethings all they can handle.
It's the age of the prodigy, isn't it? I think they're more. Look, we always have prodigies in this sport, but I think we are seeing now, and think too of the ex-prodigies like Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni, but a Thing Mo certainly in that category.
Filippi Tortu of Italy thought he might have a chance to get into that queue room, but right now it appears unofficially he will not advance as a potential time qualifier. Let's go down to the mix zone. Lewis Johnson is with the youngster Erriyon Knighton.
Yeah, we're just chuckling about the heat. Erriyon trains in Gainesville. I'm like, it's still Gainesville hot here, huh? How are you dealing with the tough conditions as you compete?
I mean, really I'm really kind of used to it. Like you said, I stay in Gainesville, Florida, almost hot and humid every day. Right. So, I mean, really what I'm doing out here is just staying hydrated, make sure I'm eating something, but sometimes that just ain't enough. Some people got to do more, so, man, it definitely feel like home, though.
It does feel like home. Okay, let's go back to this first round here. You're finally on the world stage. You had to wait until day 5. How was your approach? What was your approach to this first round of the 200?
My approach coming out here, just making sure I execute my race right. Me and my coach talked, and he was just like, just work on what you're going. I mean, every race, is something better to work on, to lean on to the final. So.
And what was important in this one? What did you guys specifically talk about that you wanted to get right?
Making sure I get my my first like 3-4 steps out the block. So, I mean, I think I did it right. I'm gonna go back to him, see if I did it right. So, in the next round, we'll maybe work on something else. And then when the final comes, we're going to try to match the two together.
As we get deeper into competition and the pressure goes up, do you prefer to be on the middle lanes where you're with the other folks, or do you like being out on lane 9?
I don't like being on the island. In the heats, I really like being on the inside so I can watch people. But, I mean, it's random lane draw, so I'm ready for everything. I practice in lane 1. I practice lane 9 just to come here and be prepared just in case we get one, because everybody don't want to give me an inside lane. When they give me an inside lane, it's going to be trouble on the curve.
Uh-oh. All right, Ariane. Thanks. We'll see you in the round.
Yes, sir.
So Knighton moves on to the semifinal round. Meantime, in the pole vault tray, we now have our qualifiers for the final, and we will get to see Mondo Duplantis fly high as well in that final.
Yeah, today was all about checking boxes, finding a rhythm, finding the run, finding the pole that he's going to use on those opening bars. And there are no indications that anything is amiss for the LSU Tiger. Mondo Duplantis will have a spot in the finals to try to defend against this guy who was right on his heels up until that world record jump. Chris Nilsson matched Mondo bar for bar right here and doing the exact same thing, checking boxes, getting things ready for the final. It was warm down there. They'll jump in the evening for the finals, and that's who we've got going into the finals. Zach McWhorter of the United States, Curtis Marshall having a great season, and the 6-meter man Ernest Obiena of the Philippines will join them.
Peter Lisek of Poland also has been a medalist at the World Championships. It'll be a phenomenal final coming up later on this week. Meantime, men's long jump qualifying.
And what would amount to one of the biggest surprises, Jian Wang, the gold medalist from Eugene last summer, was like in the 30s. I think he was 29th in the descending performance list going into this jump. And that one right there, over 2 feet farther than his best on the day, gets that big Q next to his name, the qualification, and another sigh of relief of another athlete making it into the finals.
Will Williams did make it into the final along with Marquise Dendy for the United States. Meantime, Team USA on the track. Otto trying to go 4 for 4 here in qualifiers in the men's 200 with Kenny Bednarek here in lane number 5.
Mr. Consistency, silver at the Olympics, silver at Worlds. Ogondo on the outside in 7 figures to be his chief opposition. So yet another false start in the last of these 200-meter rounds. Lane 2 maybe, and that would mean that Zeze of France. Oh yeah, he's going to be out 0.08. The reaction time threshold is 0.1 of a second. So anytime you look at that graph that's highlighted there, or that graphic I should say, and it says a number that's under 0.1, chances are